You know, I've got tons of ties, and I think I picked the one that doesn't really match. But that's okay. All right. So you have an interview, and they are asking for Office 365 experience. Well, you're in the right place. This is a video about simple things you gotta know about Office 365. It's gonna be a crash course though, just so you know. I do have detailed stuff if you wanna check it out too, but all right, let's just get the basics down so that way you can just at least go in knowing this stuff, you know? Hey, you gotta know at least this stuff. So let's get to it. Before we begin, please take a moment to say hi, hello, or present. It's sort of like a roll call in the class. That way I know you're present and you're interested in this type of content in the comments below. Thank you so much, and let's get back to the video. All right, so this is probably going to be the last video of this Office 365 tutorial series. The reason for that is if you watched my last video, I talked about this, is that my licenses are expiring in 2 days. So they will expire and I won't be able to use it, Microsoft 365 properly for those reasons. Now, I really wanted to make more videos. Unfortunately, people didn't really request that many. I saw some requests, and I thank you for that. But since my licenses are expiring 2 days, my options are to pay big money to get those licenses renewed, or request from Microsoft to renew them somehow. And those licenses are super expensive. So for those reasons, this is probably going to be last video on Office 365 for at least for the time being. Because I don't know what else to do. You know what I mean? I can't afford to pay all these licenses to use Microsoft 365 and make videos for people who may or may not watch it. I mean, I'm just being honest and observant. This is just what I've observed so far when it comes to making these type of videos. As much as I would love to help as many people as possible, and I try to do that, it is what it is. This is the situation. What can I do? I'm going to basically, since this is going to be a last video of Office 365 tutorials, I'm going to just cover everything that I've covered so far in the past 8 or 9 tutorials. I appreciate all the people that watched and left nice comments. So for those reasons, I'm going to make an ultimate video, and I'm just going to cover everything as fast as I can because it's a lot. So here's what I have on the list that we've covered so far. It's first one is adding users, and then adding licenses, user permissions, shared mailboxes, distribution emails, email recovery, SharePoint. We're going to talk about SharePoint a little bit. OneDrive, restoring deleted files, Azure Active Directory, Teams administration, user templates, multiple users, guest users, deleted users, and contacts. These are some of the things I can recall that I've talked about in my videos in the past, so we're going to cover those once more as a final video for this series. All right, here we go. First thing, we got adding users, and some of these are going to segue into this too. So adding users, I'm sorry, we're going to click on users. In Microsoft 365 Admin Center, then we're going to select active users, then we're going to select add user. We're going to create a user, we're going to call him, her, you know what, we're just going to make it gender neutral. We're just going to say new user. All right. We're going to make their user name as a new M at cosmicnovo.onmicrosoft.com. We're going to select automatically create password. We're going to leave that checked. We're going to leave this checked where it says require user to change their password when they first sign in. Very important because of security. We don't want to know their password. They need to create their own. And then we can also select send password in email upon completion. We can certainly do that. And if they have an email that they want to receive this at, it's kind of redundant because they don't have any email yet necessarily, but we don't know. If they do have a company email already, we can add this in there. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to uncheck it because we know this new user doesn't have an email yet. But if you do have one, just select it there and you can do that if you want. Select next. And then here's our license. This is the second part of it. We're going to add licenses. And keep in mind, I already talked about all of this stuff in detail, very, very detail, in previous videos. So we're just going to go over this real quick. we're going to add a student license in this here. We're going to select Office 365 A1 for students. And this is a teacher's edition of Admin Center, of Microsoft Admin Center. So options I have is faculty and students. In my videos, I treated students as just regular users and faculty as managers and knowledge workers, if you will. So we're going to give them that, which gives a list of different things that they can access, like Outlook, Microsoft Word, Excel, Access, this and that. So that's all part of this license. And then if we expand here, down here, these are apps that they have access to, and it's part of the license. So if I select a license, if I expand this, we can see that I've selected this one already. So if I select it, this is what's available. Now, if it's selected all licenses, it will list everything in there, because you can have multiple licenses. If I was to add this one on top of that, it will also reflect that. You see how it just suddenly changed down here and it added all those features. But if I switch it to just A1, you see some of the stuff disappears, but it's all here if you just leave it at all licenses. So if you want to browse that and add or remove certain parts of the licenses, you can certainly do that. All right, and that's how you add licenses. All right, and then here we got optional settings, and this is if we want to add different roles. And I think, is this one of the things? I'm just checking my list here. Do I have roles on here? Permissions, adding user permissions. All right. So this is falls under the roles. If we expand this, we can make this person administrator, and then let's go ahead and do that. Instead of just no admin center access, we're going to make them an administrator just to show you how it's done. Here it is, admin center access. This is just for Office 365 specifically. And you know what? Let's just make them help desk admin. Sure, why not? And then this is going to save. If you want to see more categories, you can expand this down here. And then we got some collaboration options, and you can make them, give them different permissions or roles based off of that. So let's say they're just knowledge administrator, network admin. These are all things that will, apply these special roles and permissions to this user. So you can select any of these things. And for those reasons, I'm just selecting random ones, just so you know how it's done. Because again, I have made videos in details on what the proper way of going about this, and in which situations would you actually give these roles yes or no. You know what I mean? This way, I'm just showing you everything that's possible. Even if it's just like a printer admin or a printer tech, you can add them on there, or global admin or whatever you want. It's all here, So, and then if we select profile info, here's where you just put in detail about this person. We're gonna just give him a job title of, I don't know, let's call him overall user. We're just gonna call him that. And we're going to say department all. Anyways, you would fill this out. If they have an office location, you would say, I don't know, 3000 Freeway Drive. I don't know. You would fill this out, their number, whatever that may be, you would fill this out. This is just information for the person, where they're at, anything that you have, anything that you have available for them. Office here should be probably like, I don't know, let's say C 150 or whatever. That's just like an office number or whatever. City, let's just make it New York. Why not? NY. I don't know what zip postal code for New York is. Country, if they're a different country, you can certainly do that too. Anyways, that's how you just fill this out. And that's how you do it from Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So what did we talk about so far? We talked about adding user, adding licenses, and user permissions, right? That's what we talked about so far. And the part of it that is reflected in Azure Active Directory users, that's where we're going to go next to cover that part here. It says here, what is the error? You can't assign a license that contain these conflict services. Anyways, we're not going to worry about that. The point of this is to just show you that this is how you do it. Anyways, you know what? Let's cancel this anyways, because we're going to do the same thing in Azure Active Directory. So from Microsoft Admin Center, I can go to Azure Active Directory, and we're going to just add them through here, right? So same deal on the left side, users. Excuse me. We're going to click new user, and we're going to, here we go, we're just going to fill it out, right? We're going to create a user. We can also invite them, you know, send them an email. This is the email part of it where we selected to send them an email or not. It doesn't matter, you know, we're just going to leave it here, create user. It's whatever it is required from you. So username, it's kind of upside down, notice here. So that's the main difference that I see here for now, is that it's upside down. Username is below the name where you fill out. I don't know why Microsoft did this, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna call him new. Oh, hold on. It's upside down, so it's even confusing me. What we had first was this new user, except this was on top, and the other one. So just keep in mind, it's weird. New M, that's their email. Okay. So it's the same thing that we looked at over there. It's just that it's upside down for some reason. Like first and last name should be on top, while this part of it should be on the bottom. It's silly the way they have it like this. It's confusing, but it is what it is. Just make sure you read it. And it doesn't populate the name automatically. So you have to fill that out. Here we go. Auto generate password. We can, you know, same as before. You can, you know, specifically create the password for them here if you want. So that's one big difference if you're doing it in Azure Active Directory. So we're just gonna set it to new user 123, whatever. So, you know, that's the password you set in here is up to you, up to your organization. They're gonna have to change it anyways when they log in. So, you know, as long as it's between you and the user, if your organization wants you to do this, you can certainly do that. Here's groups and roles. Here we can actually add them into groups right away, which is different from doing it for Microsoft Admin Center. So if we want them to be part of finance group, we're gonna just select finance group, and we're just gonna down here select that. So they're part of the group. Here's roles. User administrator. Here we go. We'll just select this one, whatever. User administrator. Here we go. So it's somebody who's can manage aspects of users and groups, including resetting passwords for limited admins, whatever. We're going to select that. So that's their role, user administrator. If we want to block this so people can't log in, then this is where you would do it. You just go and look up a user and say block them. It's right here. Block their sign in. And here's location, USA, United States. All right. What did we say for job title? All user? I don't know. Department, whatever. I think we put them in finance. Doesn't matter. Company name. I don't know. You guys can fill this out. That's whatever the company wants. This is how you basically add the user through Active Directory. We can add a manager real quick. We're just going to do that and make him add Sally Mo because I've used her before as a manager. Anyways, this is all just up to the company, what the company wants you to do. They will give you all this information and you just fill it in. It's just a matter of, you know, it's just a matter of what your company wants. And I got some errors here. It says role couldn't be added, this and that. You know, that's not the whole point of this. We can get into this more troubleshooting, but this video would be super long because remember, guys, we got to cover a lot of things. Anyways, this is how you add users through Microsoft Admin Center and through Active Directory. We've talked about differences real quick here, and here they are. Here's the user that we've just created in Azure Active Directory. If we go in here and refresh this, they will also show up. Here, a quick refresh of this window. And here it is. Here's our user. If we select it here, we can see all the things that they have. they don't have a license added. I guess that was the main thing we didn't do or couldn't do it. Well, we could have done it through Azure Directory, but this is how you do it manually. If you want to add license separately afterwards, you just go in here, find them, select licenses and app, and add. What did we say? Student. We can go in here, click save, and that would save it. It would also reflect in Azure Directory. Now let me show you how that reflects in Azure Directory. Here's the same user, and then you simply click on licenses. We're going to assignments, and here is the same thing. You know, just select it. You see how it's the same thing as over there, basically. And we just select save, and it does it. So it's the same difference whether I've done it through here or through Active Directory. What else? Let's see, what's the next thing on our... I think I'm done with users for now. All right, I think the next thing I have on the list is shared mailboxes. Shared mailboxes. Okay, so we're going to go to our Exchange, and we're going to add this user to one of the shared mailboxes. We might as well create one real quick. Add a shared mailbox. New shared mailbox. This is how you do it. I'm sorry, did I go too fast? Here we go. Okay, so here we go. Exchange admin, select recipients, and select mailboxes, and select add shared mailbox. And we're just going to fill this new shared mailbox. Again, I have detailed videos on all of this. Email. Well, let me explain to you what shared mailbox. Basically, it's an email or inbox that multiple people can use and receive emails to. But the email itself or the mailbox itself is just one. So new shared mailbox. So basically, if somebody wants to send an email to a group and they have a shared mailbox, let's say finance group, they would send it to this new share. You know, it would just be called whatever it is. You know, they would say email sent to this shared mailbox, and everybody in that group, in that part of organization, will see it. And everybody who's added to make changes, or I should say, you know, send on behalf of that mailbox or reply on behalf, or even to view, will be able to send email or respond from that mailbox. So when they respond, you would show up coming from this, as long as they do it properly. They just have to do it properly in Outlook. They have to select send as, and I'll show you that. Okay, so this is how you create a shared mailbox. As simple as that. Once it creates, we're going to go in and just add people to it so the people can use it. And we're going to add this new user. We're going to keep it simple, and you can add anybody else in there. And it gives you an option to do it right here, but if you click out of it, you can add them later. So if I was to click add users here, I can just click add users and select new user to be in there. All right, that's how you do it. But if I close this, that window disappears. But then if I select new shared mailbox here in our list of mailboxes, it's right here, then you would do it a little bit differently. And then you would do it manage mailbox delegation. And I know this sounds so different from what we just saw. And it's kind of bizarre, really. Like if I was to close this, there's no other option to get to that same other menu, right? And look, it's just whatever. I can't right click this. I can't do nothing. All I can do is just select this. So I can never go back to that one window that we just saw after we created the, you know, the shared mailbox. So the only option we have here is to select manage mailbox delegation, which was totally different from what we saw previously, right? So if you want to allow somebody or a group of people to view it, to read what's inside of this mailbox, to see this mailbox at all, then you would have to go in here and select read and manage, and then select edit, and then add them. So you can add permissions by selecting add permissions, and then you can just select the user here, right here, and then save. So it's the same thing as we saw earlier, it's just that it's different. But you have to keep in mind, you have to also go back and add send as. If you want this person to be able to send from that email, from that shared mailbox, then you have to select send as, select edit, and then add the same person on here, which in this case, remember, we created that new user. And there it is. Now this person can go in and add this mailbox. Once they go into Outlook, they can just add this mailbox by right-clicking on just a folder, right-click folder, and select Add New Folder. Again, guys, I've showed all of this in detail in my previous videos. They would go in Mailbox, in their Outlook, select Folder, right-click it, and then select Add a Folder, and then they can select this new shared mailbox, and then they would have another inbox below their regular inbox in which they can see this email and use it if they want to and send as that. Now, you know, more things that we can talk about this, definitely more, and I've talked about that in my previous video. So yeah, we're gonna just keep it going because there's a lot to talk about here as part of it. So what do we have here? Email recovery. Next list is email recovery. Okay. So if somebody loses their email, you can look it up in here in Microsoft Exchange admin, and it's under mail flow, and then it's message trace. So this is like if somebody didn't receive an email or could not send an email, it failed or whatnot, you can go through mail flow. So under mail flow and then message trace. This can also be done in security part of Office 365. It's added in there. You can also have mail flow and then message trace, which, you know, comparatively speaking, it's the same thing, you know. So let's just do it from Microsoft Exchange admin because that's where it usually is, but just keep in mind it's also in security. Let's just change this to Sally as recipient and leave it at that. Let's see if she received any emails recently. Here it is. 2 days ago, we found an email that she supposedly received. And she probably did because it can see here that it says received, processed, or delivered. And if Sally says, hey, I don't have this email, you can say, hey, check to see if you check your spam folder, check your deleted, I don't know, recycle bin in Outlook. Check your junk folder or whatever, you know. So we can tell her right away that it's received, processed, or delivered. Doesn't it sound like a song? I don't know. Anyways, next thing. Next thing. Oh yeah. Well, since it's received, there's nothing to recover, right? But you know, if we were to report it, we can certainly report it, and this will go to our security and compliance department. So if we wanted to report this as an issue, this is how you do it. So if this email is sketchy, there's something wrong with it, you know, blah blah blah, we can report it as phishing, malware, or spam. And that was initiated from here, right on here. After we did a trace, report message, and then it opens up research and compliance, and then we can report this issue to them so they can investigate. If we want to do that, I don't know, we can select it to whatever and just say submit, and we'll go in there. Boom. And that's happening. So I guess we're gonna cover some things that I didn't even mention in my preview of what's gonna be on here. Email requires SharePoint. All right, let's see what we can talk about SharePoint real quick. All right, SharePoint. Okay, SharePoint. What is SharePoint about? Oh yeah, so active sites. I guess not many people really use it, but some companies can use it. It's basically a website. Like we can look at the website for like a department website that allows you to like have their own. Well, let's just look at it, man. Finance group. Yeah, let's look at the finance group. So this is what SharePoint looks like when a user opens it up. This is just a website, right? And this is what they can do for their group. Let's say they're part of a group. You can also have it so that it's just a company-wide website. If you just want to use this for a company-wide website, like a local company-wide website, then you can do this. I know, like a page that everybody goes in for news, for things that they're going to have scheduled, like team meetings, this and that. If they want to use it for that, they can use it for this. And here are options: conversations. You can see people just, you know, having conversations in their shared mailbox. This is just a link to their shared mailbox for finance department. This is what this is. It opened up their shared mailbox. Okay, and where is our thing? Shared mailbox. Okay, I guess it wants me to click back. And we got documents that were shared here for everybody that's in the group. Somebody else who shared, some other department or whatever. Here's a notebook. Pages, site content, whatever. That's what SharePoint is. I think that's fairly self-explanatory. Next thing is OneDrive, restoring deleted files. So let's say our new user here deletes something. We can recover it for them. And the way you do that, you just find them in here. Here's our new user. Select them. Select them, and it opens up like this. And then you can select our OneDrive. Now for this one, it's going to say it's not set up because they have to log in. I don't have time to log in. So let's look at a different example. I don't know. Let's stick with Sally. We're going to select Sally. If we go to her OneDrive, we can basically see if she deleted something, and then we can create a link here that will basically let us see what her inside of her, on her behalf, her OneDrive. So let's say she deleted something. We can create this link. So it's last option here in OneDrive, and then we clicked on generate link. Let me show you one more time. Create link to files, to her files. It's going to create a link. Then we're going to log in as them, or you don't have to, with admin privileges, you don't have to type in nothing. But this is what her OneDrive looks like. So if she deleted something, it's going to be in here, and then we can restore it. And normally there will be like a recycle bin here, but in this case it's not. If you get this issue, you can still access it to a different way, and that is done through SharePoint. Here it is, SharePoint. And then if you're in SharePoint, make sure you select more features. So more features inside of SharePoint. And on right, select user profiles, select open, and then select manage user profiles, which is right here. Remember, it's their profile, and OneDrive is part of their profile. Manage user profile, and then we're going to look up Sally. We're just going to do a search for Sally. All right, there's Sally Mo, and then once we find her, there's a little drop down arrow here, right here. When she comes up, Sally Mo, there's a little drop down here. I don't know why they made it so kind of difficult, honestly. And then if we select that, we can select manage personal site. Okay, now when this comes up, we can have access to her recycle bin, which is right over here. So I guess this is why they want people to work Office 365 or have specific Office 365 experience and knowledge, because if they can't find this stuff, then this is why they want people to learn this stuff. Here it is, recycle bin, and it's going to open up the same thing we kind of looked at, except we have, this is what we first had, but we didn't have the recycle bin. But here it is now, Sally Mo, and then we were looking at her recycle bin directly instead of just looking at her OneDrive. This is basically OneDrive access, and you can assume this as in recycle bin access. Personally, I would just go through here directly, and if she has anything that she wants to recover, we can select it like this and just select restore, and now it should show up right over here. So once we refresh this, we're looking at her OneDrive. There it is. As simple as that. I mean, simple as that, except the navigation is not simple. It's not easy to remember, guys, that you have to go to SharePoint to do this. I guess if you do it a few times, you can remember to do it, I guess. All right, let me just close some of these windows, these tabs, I should say. Closing some of these tabs so we can move on to the next topic. Talk about OneDrive. Azure Active Directory users, we talked about that. Teams administration, that's the next thing. All right, Teams. All right, admin.teams.microsoft.com. All right. Teams is basically a place that allows you to control the conversation between different groups. Let's say they have group chats and this and that. It's like Discord, sort of, or any like group chat, like Facebook groups or something like that. And here it is. If you're inside of Teams, I actually highly suggest you go watch my video. That's way more detailed on this. So I'm just gonna go give a quick overview here, and that is that you can manage these different groups settings when it comes to their, chat, collaboration, things that they talk about, this and that, to properly kind of display what Teams Admin Center is about. Let me show you how it looks like for a user. So I'm going to open this up first, and I'm just going to open Teams for users. So this is not an admin one, is just the regular. Oh, come on, just let me in. Use the web app. All right. Activity, chat. This is what Teams is for a user, right? They're part of a group. Here's, this guy is part of collab group, and then we got chats, activity, assignments, calendar, phone calls, files. So for their group and just maybe entire part of the organization, this is what it is. I mean, this is what the users see. So they can see their chat message. They can send a chat message to somebody. They can private call them, make phone calls, and they can have access to their Teams chat as well, files. You can see if I start a new conversation, I'm going to say, hello team, all right, and you can, turn on notifications. It's like a group chat, that gives you more tools to do work with. And inside of Teams administrator, so admin.teamsmicrosoft.com, is where you basically control permissions and settings for different teams that are using this. So we looked at the collab group one here. If I go in here and select manage teams, select collab group, I can change different permissions of who can access it, who are members of this. So this way I'm just gonna add Sally. Sure, why not? So now when she opens it up, she can also be part of this, group. But, it's, you can manage users under users here, guests, external access, this and that, in when it comes to any of these communication aspects. And that's fine. You can manage their phones, their devices. And again, I talked about all of this in detail. But basically, for just basic purposes, this is what it is. All right, so we're going to move on with user templates, or we're going to start talking about the user templates. The reason we're going back to users is because as an administrator, you're going to be managing a lot of users. You're going to be, doing this a lot. So as, administrator that's going to be dealing with users a lot, this is something that's very important. It will save you time, and that's the whole point of templates, is that if you use a template, you don't have to fill out a bunch of stuff that we've done manually in the first demonstration that we've done. So here are our templates. I have a video on how to create these templates, and if we select user templates right next to add users, we can see that we have 3 different ones. And if you select manage templates, you can see the same one. So we got a user template, we got a student template, and faculty managers template. These are the ones we created in one of our tutorial videos. So okay, that's great. So how do we use them? Okay, we go back to active users, and then we select user templates, not add user. Select user templates. We're going to use a template for a user. So what do we want to do? Let's create another user. So instead of filling out all the licenses and all the other stuff, we're just going to select template users, called a template called users, right? So we're just going to do that, and then we get a shorter pop-up. We can just fill out their name and be done with it. So let's say this is template user. We're just going to do this for the sake of keeping this going. Display name, and then I'll always populates automatically. Template user. Okay, and we have our templates selected, and if we change our mind, we can select a different one. and then that's fine. We're going to leave it at that, and you can see that everything is just filled out already. We don't have to fill out a license, address, nothing. So let's say you have a ton of different users, which we're going to segue into adding multiple users. Then all this is filled out. This saved time. Boom, done. I've created this user already with using a template. See how much quicker that was? That's the whole point of template. It's great. Okay, now we're going to segue into multiple users. So if I select add multiple users, we can do this by just uploading a what is called a CSV file. Basically, it's like a spreadsheet with all the names and the information for the user. This is usually filled out by HR or human resources when they hire somebody. So they just send you a list, and then you download this list, you upload it, and then you can add all of these people real quick. All right, let's say kind of let's see an example of this. Download the CSV file that includes example user info. So let's click on this so we can view it. CSV file with headers. So this is what HR would fill out. We can see the first name. It says username first, and we're going to say, I don't know, so Samantha, Sally, Larry, Barry, sure, Barry, Michael. Code, country, region. I don't know. They can all fill this out. Like HR can fill all this out. And make sure it's saved in CSV file format, which is what I've done here. And again, there could be tons of them. And I know this is all dark themed because I like dark theme everything, but it wouldn't be all dark like that, Anyways, so we created one. Let's browse. Hopefully I filled out everything needs to be filled out. There it is. So we've selected our template. Once it thinks about it, I guess it's thinking about it. It's still, I guess, uploading. Anyways, once it does that, we should be able to click next and then just process a bulk of users, just bunch of users at once. And that's the point of having these templates, so that way, HR can just fill them out. You just browse them, and then you just select them, and then you click next. Why is it not doing it now? I don't know. It kind of looked like it froze for me, so I don't know what's going on. It's not letting me click next for some reason. I don't know why. Let me try it one more time. It's not letting me do it. But anyways, the limit is up to 249 users per CSV file. Each user must have a unique email address. And then, you just have to make sure that everything's filled out properly. That's their problem. HR needs to fill this out. I don't know why it's not working now. It's just there was no error or nothing. I don't know. That's how you do it. And if you wanted to add multiple users, HR should know how to fill this out properly. Anyways, your job is to add them in there and just create a bunch of users at once. All right, guest users. So from here, we click on 3 dots and then select a guest user. Oh, nope, it's not. I'm sorry, it's wrong. I don't know if it was there to begin with before. I don't know. Anyways, guest users is right here. And then you can just click add guest user. And it's done through Azure Active Directory. I don't know why, but it is. And I don't know why it's even here. I guess this is just a shortcut. Anyways, you do it in Azure Active Directory. You fill this out. And we've done this already. It's just like creating a user. We've done this already, except it's a guest user. What's the difference? Well, it's labeled guest user. And you can remove them later. It's easier to keep track of it. I don't know. Deleted users. It's right underneath the guest users. Did I delete any? Well, if I didn't, well, let's delete some. We're going to, sure, let's delete the one that we've just created. I'm just going to delete new user. I'm going to select them, and then you can do it from here, then doing the 3 dots, or you can do it here, delete user, 3 other dots there. delete. And once you delete somebody, it releases their licenses. So if you want to bring them back, you have to re-add the licenses that were uh, that were um, that were removed. So, anyways, and you can also give another user access to new users' email. So if they need if this person gets fired and their manager wants to see what it's in their email, you can give access to that person, and then we'd add it in there um, just like you would do it for shared mailbox. Person can go in and view everything that's in there and reply on their behalf. In this case, I've added Sally as their manager, and you know, and then we can just go in and just do it. Anyways, we can set up out of office. You can see here, thank you for contacting Cosmic Nova. Regret to inform you that your new user has no longer employed here. Blah blah blah. Contact Sally. You know, it fills it out for you. Anyways, I've talked about this in detail in my specific video for this, and then I'm just going to transfer ownership of that, assign and convert, and then this is how you delete them. And then you can restore them if they, in case they are, you know, in case they come back. It says here we couldn't convert the user to shared mailbox. Whatever. This is an error we can deal with later in some other video. But anyways, deleted users. Come on, refresh. It should show up. Come on. It takes a bit. Or maybe it didn't even do it because, yeah, it didn't do it because we got that error. Let's try it again. Well, this is good. Yeah, I guess. Delete user. Okay, now it did it. Okay, that was weird. So it wouldn't completely do it for some reason. This time it didn't even give me option to transfer anything, but it did remove all the licenses. So I had to go back in and do it manually. So I guess if you get that issue again where you couldn't transfer the mailbox and you still want to delete them, you have to do it again. So there is that. There they are if I want to restore them. We're going to click restore. Anyway, this is just asking about the password. Same deal like as if you were creating a new user. Go back, and here they are. They're back. But if we click on them, we can see that their licenses are not assigned. And then we have to reassign license to them and save changes. Okay, and that's how you do that. Contacts. I think that's one of the last things we are talking about today. Oh yeah, so this is basically just adding a contact, so that way they can be contacted and found in directory, or what's it called? Is it directory when you go to Outlook and then you look for somebody? Anyways, it's like a white pages for Outlook. So for example, we have Kumar Patel here, and he's our network contact, but he works for a different company. If we want him to be able to be found in Outlook, so you want to email Kumar about network outage, you have to add him in here as a contact if he's outside of a different company, so that way he can just come up, so he can just you can easily find him in the directory, so you can contact him. That's all it is. It's just a contact, but you do have to add him in there, so that way he does come up in search whenever you're trying to email network support, because this guy is a network support. So if you just type in network support, you can contact him. And let's just do that as a wrap up to this video. New message, and let's see, what was he? Network there it is. See how he just comes up, network support. So it's useful to do, so that way it's easy just to email him, you know. All right, and that is that, guys. That is going to be the end of this. I don't know what I'm going to call this. Maybe a simple Office 365 crash course. I think I'm going to call it that. And again, this is the last video in the series because licenses are expiring. If you don't believe me, here it is. Where is it? Licenses, billing, your licenses, products? I don't know. I don't look these up often. Where is it at? Here it is, under your products. And you can see that it expires right here. Look, it expires. Even says up here, warning, it expires. So, fortunately, that's that. If I can make other videos without these licenses, I will. I can't promise anything. It all depends on people's interest. When it comes down to it, if people are not interested or not going to watch, then why should I make these videos? You know what I mean? I'm just going to move on to something else. I've had a lot of fun making these videos, and I'm glad that it helped a lot of people. I can see that some people actually were able to get jobs thanks to some of my videos. Not just Office 365, but like help desk and desktop support, network administration, system administration. Oh God, I don't know what else I have. I have a lot, but everything has to come in an end, and so it will this series for now. Again, I may make more videos on Office 365, but it just depends. It depends. So it's going to be very situation depending on the people and the status of these licenses, of course. Okay, I wish you a wonderful day. Best of luck. I hope you get a job that requires Office 365 knowledge, and that this helps you somehow. I think it does. I think it will. And I think you should just stay confident and motivated and learn as much as you can before you go for any jobs that require this. Okay. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.